Hey guys, what's up? I'm back with another video. Maybe you guys have noticed something different. A new door, new bed, new location. Well, if you have, you probably haven't, but if you have, then that's because I moved! I decided to get my life together before I'm applying to grad school in the fall and do research at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So I'm on a new campus this summer, subleasing an apartment and doing some really cool research that I'll hopefully get to talk about in another video. But anyway, you don't care, that's not why you clicked on this video. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about why I am no longer pre-med at the University of Michigan. I'm going to be talking about my story, like why I decided to change my major and change tracks completely, and how the university played a part in that. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you guys and tell you everything that I was thinking throughout the process and my journey to where I am now. And so, in honor of spilling the tea to you guys, I thought I would drink tea in my really cute corgi mug. If you know me, you know that I am obsessed with corgis. They are the greatest thing to ever happen to the universe. So that's what we will be doing. I will be drinking tea and spilling the tea to you guys.
Pre-med anymore does not mean that you should doubt yourself in your journey, that you should not be pre-med at the University of Michigan, that the University of Michigan ruined my hopes and dreams. Only a little bit of that is true. But in all honesty, this is just me trying to help you guys because I am first generation and I am low income. Woo! So these are just the circumstances that I have been born into, and maybe if the circumstances were different, I would still be pre-med, but that's not the case. Everything happens for a reason, and I am completely happy with where I am today, my career choice, and everything like that. So this is purely informational and more like a story time, so don't take it too seriously. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and I will answer them. So let's get on with my story.
Since I did bring up my circumstances, I kind of just want to talk about where I came from going into the University of Michigan. So, like I said, I'm first gen. Shout out to my first gen people. I went to a high school that wasn't the greatest, and that's not to say that it was the worst either. It was just I wasn't getting the same education as my peers at the university do, or have, or did. My dad works in a factory and my mom owns a thrift shop. And then going into the University of Michigan, I saw people who came from exceptional high school backgrounds, whose parents were doctors and lawyers and all these professional parents. So kind of entering the university, I felt as if I were behind. I'd go into class, and I'm going to be talking a lot about chemistry class because that's really what broke me down. But so I would go into my chemistry class and everybody else would understand it, but I was just like slower to understand things, and I felt as if I were dumb, you know. But I came from high school where I got straight A's and you know, very few B's, and that was the lowest grade I would ever get. And then entering the university, I didn't get those same grades, you know, and it was really challenging. So I realized now that it was not that I was dumb, it's just that I had to play catch up, you know. I had to catch up to be on the same level as everyone else.
If you are watching this and you feel this way throughout the school year, please, please, please know that you are not dumb. You got into this university for a reason. It's hard to get in, you know. This isn't like if you breathe, you can get in, you know. Like, this is a really, really tough school to get into, and congratulations for getting into it, okay?
I started the university with chemistry. During orientation, you sign up for classes, and there are some advisors there, and they were kind of like student advisors. I don't know, whatever. They were just unqualified, honestly, to give advice about this. So they gave advice, and they said if you are pre-med, you have to take chemistry your first semester. So they said that if you are not proficient in chemistry, then to take both the chemistry course and the chemistry lab course together in the same semester. I don't know what possessed them to say that that would be the best to do, but let me tell you, it's not. I took a chem class in high school and it was just poop. I just didn't really learn anything, you know, or I took it my sophomore year of high school, so I didn't remember, you know, whatever the reason. I should not have done that. I should have just taken the chem course, and then I would take the chem lab the next semester. That's not how it played out, so here we go. So I signed up for both, and I started the chem course, which was like lecture and discussion. So I started that, and I was doing okay in the beginning, but right off the bat I noticed that I wasn't understanding it as well as everybody surrounding me. You know, so I lived in Markley, and a lot of kids down the hall were taking the same class as me. So we kind of all grouped together and talked about it and studied together. When we were doing that, it just felt so awkward for me because I realized that I was not understanding it as well as them, and they were, you know, putting in all this input, and I was not contributing, not because I didn't want to, you know, I never want to be that person that doesn't contribute to like group work. But I just could not understand, and I felt like everything I said made me feel so dumb. And so that kind of like hurt my confidence. That made me not want to study with my friends anymore. So that was my first mistake too. Or maybe that was my second mistake. Signing up for the class was my first mistake. But anyway, so that's my second mistake. And so instead of asking my friends for help, I signed up for an SLC study group. So I do recommend that. It's Science Learning Center study group where they have like free tutoring. So it's a student in the university who is really good at the course, who got like an A or a B plus in the course, and they teach it to a group of people. So it's kind of like another class during the week. There was nothing wrong with that, but it was just like, it got to the same point where everybody else was understanding it but me. You know, or like I would understand things at the time, but then I would go home or I would go to class the next day and we would learn something new, but that kind of like branched off of what we learned the last day, and it didn't make sense to me. But my biggest mistake, I feel like, was not dropping the course entirely.
Well, this is my advice to you, is if you are struggling, there is an add drop deadline or a pass fail deadline. I think they have the same deadline. So add drop is you can add a course or drop a course and you have no consequences. You know, like it doesn't show up on your transcript, like nobody knows except your professor and you could take it another semester, like, you know, you can learn yourself and then feel more confident and take it, or you can just be like, screw this, I don't want to take this anymore, I'm going to drop it. Or you can do pass-fail deadline. So it's the same deadline, but instead you can make the course pass or fail. So instead of having like A, B, C, D, E as for like grades, on your transcript it just says P or F, and then P is if you pass the course, and it depends. If you're pre-med, then I think you need like a C minus or a C in the course, and then if you are anything else, I think it's a D plus. I'm not really sure exactly. You just have to figure out with your advisor what requisites you need to graduate, and then if that's one of them, then it could be pass or fail.
So I should have done one of these two options, you know? Pass fail would have taken a load off of me. I just kept saying, I can do this, I will do this, I'm just gonna study harder. I took that a little too literally, and it took a toll on me both physically and mentally. I would stay up until 5 or 6 in the morning studying. I would drink Monster every night. I would cry almost pretty much every single day. First semester I would break down and cry. Like, I can't even describe to you. I just felt like I didn't belong in the university, you know? It wasn't even just that I shouldn't be pre-med anymore, because that didn't really cross my mind for a while. It was just like, I shouldn't even be in school. Like, what am I doing? So anyway, what wore me down was, and I will never forget this day, this completely broke me. This told me that I could not do this anymore. So I had a Chem Lab final, right? So we had finals for my chemistry class, and then I had them for my chemistry lab. And so I at this point I was on the verge of failing chem course. I was below sea level. But anyway, so then I had my chem lab, and I was also struggling in that course. You did not know what you were going to have in the course until the very end. So throughout the entire semester, I didn't know what my grade was. I could have been passing, I could have been failing, and all I knew was that the class was curved because they made it so hard. The last lab that we had, our professor said that it was going to be exactly the same as our final. So whatever we learned, or like whatever the procedure was in the last lab, it would be the same as the final. So all we had to do was pay very close attention to what we were doing, and it would be the same. The only difference was that we had a partner in the last lab and not for the final. That was a lie. I got into the final, and we had an hour and a half, I think, to complete it. So basically, he said that we could not get the final exam, which was like the questions that we had to fill out, until half an hour passed. And if we could not figure out the lab in that time, then that was when we could get the paper. Your girl tried and tried and tried to understand what the lab was asking. I just remember not understanding anything, and I saw people around me. They were going up, measuring things, getting their stuff, and I was just sitting there like, what is this? You know, like, do I have the same lab as everyone else? Because this definitely does not make any sense. It just got to a point where I could not figure this out anymore, and so I sat there for a full half hour. Let me tell you, I could not figure that out to save my life. So I came home from that lab, and the first thing I did was cry. I broke down. This was maybe like 7 p.m. My roommate wasn't home, and so I just went home, I locked the door, and I called my brother, and I broke down. Like, I laid down on the carpet on the floor, and I just remember bawling. I was hyperventilating. I was having an anxiety attack. I'm getting emotional thinking about it because that was the worst feeling I've ever felt in my life. I could not take it. I told him, and I was like, how am I going to get into med school? I have terrible grades. Everyone else has great grades. You know, like, how am I going to get in? I can't fix this. And so that was like the moment where I was questioning being pre-med. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So anyway, fast forward to second semester. I was taking my first psych class. So I was taking abnormal psychology, also known as psychopathology. The best course I could have taken at the University of Michigan. I absolutely loved it. I was doing well in the exams, and I was so interested in everything that I was learning. I looked forward to going to class. I looked forward to studying for class. You know, like, just reading the textbook I loved, and I was like, you know, I'm so interested in this. There must be a reason. So I took my first exam in that course in psychopathology, and I showed dramatic difference in my grade in that course than I did in any of my pre-med courses. And so the same day that I got my grade back for the psychopathology exam, I came home and I looked up careers in psychopathology, and I was like, oh my god, I love this course, what can I do? And then I found clinical psychology, and within clinical psychology I found neuropsychology, and this was something that I never considered before. You know, I always said that I wanted to help people, and I always wanted to be a doctor and everything, but I don't know what clicked in me, but it was like, I absolutely love this. I need to do this for the rest of my life. And so I looked up these careers. I settled on clinical psychology and neuropsychology, and I called Victor, and I cried in tears of joy for once. You know, I wasn't sad crying. I was happy crying, and I was like, dude, I'm not pre-med anymore. I finally found what I love doing, and I realized then that I was doing so poorly in my pre-med courses in chemistry and biology because I hated them. If I'm pre-med, I'm going to have to take chemistry again. I'm going to have to take biology. I'm going to have to take this other biology, orgo, P-Chem, physics, all of these courses. And I honestly, thinking about the future, thinking about taking those courses, I hated it. I dreaded it. I would have dreaded college had I continued. But then looking at psychopathology and looking at the courses I had to take then, like the neuroscience courses I was taking, the psychology courses I would have to take, all these things, I realized that I absolutely loved it, and I would have looked forward to every single requisite I would have in order to be a BCN major. And so that's when I decided. And from then I decided that I wanted to graduate early. I came in with a lot of AP credits, and so I realized that they transferred over and I was a year ahead, so I could graduate in 3 years. I am so much happier. I'm thriving. I went from a 2.64 GPA to a 3.2 GPA right now, and so I'm just continuously doing better and continuously feeling more healthy mentally and happier, and it's just so great. So yeah, that was my pre-med journey. If you are going into the University of Michigan and you are currently pre-med, then here is my advice for you. Number 1, chemistry is a weed out course, okay? It is well known in the university to be a weed out course. And that means that everyone entering the course is either pre-med or engineering or something of the like. And so everyone there needed to take chemistry, and we actually had to take weekly quizzes in my discussion class, and people were doing so well on that quiz that the professor told the GSI that he was going to make the quizzes harder because people were averaging A's on the quizzes and he wanted to make them harder.
Because he thought that that wasn't fair.
Like what?
You are loving chemistry, you know, if that is your passion or whatever, if you're really good at it, then take Chem Lab concurrently with it so you can knock 2 out of the park right away. But if you are like me and you either don't like chemistry, don't really understand it, come from a poor chemistry background from high school, or whatever, you don't remember it, anything like that, do not take it with Chem Lab. Take them separately. Just take your time, dip your toes in the water for a semester, and just take one pre-med course at a time.
Pay attention to the add, drop, or pass-fail deadline. Okay, there is nothing wrong with using it. If you fail the first exam, don't think that you are alone or that there is nothing you can do. Sign up for an SLC study group. So those are free for all, I think for everybody, pretty sure. Yeah, they're free for everybody, you know, like I explained, it's just a student who did really well in the course and he offers tutoring to a classroom. So it's another class, schedule one of those in. This is the biggest piece of advice, okay? Like this, I need you to not take with a grain of salt. I need you to really, really apply for this. Okay, so if you are first generation or low income, I think it's primarily first generation, you can apply for something called the CSP program, and that offers you a smaller class size. So for example, our chemistry course was a 500 student lecture with 1 professor, and that kind of made it hard to understand as well. If you are a CSP student taking chemistry, it is 1 professor teaching to 30 students. That is a beautiful concept to have. You know, if you are struggling in chemistry and you enter a chemistry course with 500 students, then you are just a number. You know, you can always go to office hours, but those are intimidating sometimes. It's just really hard to get to just dive in the water without dipping your toes in first, you know? So you would have smaller classes, you would have private tutoring, like one-on-one tutoring, not only for chemistry, but all the hard sciences. So being pre-med, you have to do biology and chemistry and physics and all those things, and I'm pretty sure all of those pre-med core courses are included with free tutoring and smaller classes. And you are surrounded by students who are on the same boat as you. So I was surrounded by people that I thought were really smart, you know, that I thought were so much smarter than I was because I wasn't understanding. But really, there are more people that feel the exact same way as you. And so I am just upset that I didn't take part in the course, you know. Like I said, maybe if my circumstances were different or if I took advantage of these resources that I didn't even know of, I would still be pre-med today, but that's not the way that the cards play out. Everything happens for a reason. Like I said, I'm happy where I am, but I just wanted to help you guys. Woo! We are done. That's all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. If you need any advice, then comment down below. And if you have any video suggestions, then also comment down below. And give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!